I am a little late with this story, but given that the person who the story is about has been on my channel so many times, I feel compelled to make this video. Because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time to rejoice because a person who, in my opinion, is one of the worst people on the internet is taking a break. Yes, Lily Tino, aka Buffalo Grill, or Nicholas to use his real name, is taking a break from TikTok and is finally facing the backlash he so richly deserves. The trans influencer appears to go out of his way to paint his own community in a bad light. Not only that, but at the time of recording, there's a petition with over 400,000 signatures demanding that he be removed from TikTok. There are also rumours, and that's all they are, so this is hearsay, not fact, that he was recently arrested following posting pictures he took inside the women's toilets at Disneyland, Florida. Disney World, Florida. The thing about Lily is that for all the content he posts, claiming to be educating the general population about trans issues, he still comes across as such an insufferable arsehole. This is a man who came to prominence by going into restaurants, claiming to be a food critic and waiting to get misgendered, or rather to be referred to as a man, which is what he is. Often by waiting staff who clearly don't speak English as their first language. To me, he comes across as a really nasty piece of work. But before we get to his latest post, where he turns the Victimhood up to 11 and feels sorry for himself, let's take a look at his journey, which apparently began, or rather he decided he must be a woman after finding out that his partner had been cheating on him. Now, if I put myself in that situation as a younger man, if I found out the woman I'd been seeing had been sleeping with someone else, either I would have thought, what a slag, I'm glad to be rid of her. I may have thought, the next woman I get with, her knees are going over my shoulders, she's getting every millimetre, put a bit more effort in. Yet there is no version of that chain of events where I would think, I'll start wearing a dress and cut my bollocks off. So let's see Nick become Lily, one of the least convincing trans women in the entire fucking world. So even before he started transitioning, back when he was Nick, to me, he still looks like someone whom it would be really easy to hate. And the transformation itself? Well, he's had a shave, grown his hair long, although I think it's a hair transplant, had some electrolysis, and gradually learned to put on makeup. And if that's all he needed, if that would make him happy, I'd be with him. I'd say you go for it, mate. But the trouble is, he's so fucking obnoxious.
Recently, some green apples have decided that they don't like being called green. They say that it's offensive and that they prefer to be called biological apples. But if you call a green apple a biological apple, then you're indirectly saying that red apples are just pretending, like they're not actually apples or weird somehow, and that's simply not true. The word green is just an adjective that modifies the noun apple. Adjectives are important because they tell us about the differences between two similar things.
Okay, apples don't talk. I'm not aware of any fruit that's developed a complex language model. But let's say these two apples, the red apple and the green apple, have become sentient and started conversing. They are both apples. But if you had an orange and an apple, the orange isn't an apple. In the same way, and he knows this full fucking well, if you have a biological woman and a trans woman, only one of those is female. And the trans woman can have all the surgeries under the sun. He could even cut off his love plums and his yogurt cannon. He'll still be biologically male. Human beings cannot change sex. So let's see Buffalo Grill's latest post to TikTok, and we'll all gather round and feel sorry for him.
So the whole point of why I do what I do, which is create content, is to educate and to entertain. in that order. And I think that recently my content has taken a bit of a shift to be more, well, I'm hurt. I am deeply hurt.
To educate and entertain. No, that isn't what you do. You bully people on minimum wage. You take photos inside female-only spaces, which is really creepy, and talk down to the viewer. Nick, I'm sorry your missus cheated on you. Was cutting your knackers off really the best course of action?
Because of the amount of hate that I've gotten over the past 3 years doing this, 2.5 years. And that hurt has influenced the way that I do things. As a content creator, especially as a streamer, I'm always on camera, talking all the time, daily updates about where I'm at. And I think that the hurt that I feel has influenced the way that I've pushed in my content to be confrontational and be in your face about what I'm trying to do, which is ultimately teach people about trans things.
In your face to teach people? No one asked to be taught on these trans issues. There are calm, rational people who can do it. I don't watch Lily Tino to be educated. I understand reality. Men cannot be women. Sorry to be harsh, but that is the truth of it. And now he's feeling hurt and feeling bullied. Well, after years of doling out on other people, karma's a bitch.
For a more accepting world. But I don't want the hurt to be a part of it anymore. That shift is not fun for me at all. It's actually really awful, and it doesn't just impact me, but my family and my friends, and I'm not here to hurt anybody. I'm always going to be a confrontational person, but I think there's ways to do it that are not channeling the anger I feel at the world for hurting me.
The thing is, after all these years of treatments and surgeries and whatever, he only looks mildly less feminine than me. And he wants to make a more accepting world. Sir, the reason that people aren't more accepting is because of people like you. The vast majority of trans people are just trying to live their lives, and if that's you, I wish you the very best. But it's fucktards like him and Dylan Mulvaney, who's gone bloody quiet, who are harming their own community. These mobile freak shows are fucking it up for their own kind. And if he doesn't want to feel the hurt, then stop trying to actively hurt others. When he goes to a restaurant and a waitress comes over and calls him sir, just let it go. Don't try and get her sacked. Nick, the anger you're feeling is of your own making. Also, don't go to Disney World dressed like a 6-year-old girl and stomp round like the Incredible Hulk. And when you go to sit down for a meal, with families with young children all around you, don't talk about your penis and when you're getting it removed.
At the world for hurting me. So to that end, I'm gonna take a break. I don't know when I'll be back. I'll be back, but I don't know when. I need to take some time. I'm not gonna change myself for anybody. That's never gonna happen.
I'm not going to change myself. Says a man who's trying to be a woman, who's had facial feminization surgery, although for the life of me I can't see what it's done. A man who's taking estrogen to grow breasts, and as we've already discussed, is having his meat and 2 veg removed. How long will he be away for? Well, if he ends up in prison, quite a long time. But if that isn't the case, I give him a couple of weeks. I think he's too much of a narcissist to stay away. And he'll be back to posting his weird shit content from inside women's toilets. Why do some trans women get so obsessed about doing that? Going into the ladies' restroom? Unless, of course, it's just a fetish and they get off on making women feel uncomfortable. Because I've never gone into the gents and thought, I'm going to go for a piss. I'd best video record this so I have a record of it for future generations. And then we have this shirt. Lesbians do it better. Buffalo Grill, Lily, Nick, whatever your name is, you are not a lesbian. You are a confused heterosexual man hell-bent on self-mutilation. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you could leave a like, a comment or share the video, that really helps the algorithm. If you would like to support me in making these videos, there are links in the description to buy me a coffee and to my Patreon. And as ever, thanks for watching. I'm a few days late with this story, but given that this little bit fucked that up, 4 seconds. Even before beginning the transition, he comes across as a bit of a bellend. Poor choice of words, Dan. There is no version of the universe where I would think my best course of action is to start dressing like Doris Day. Such shit, I did that joke a couple of days ago. Sorry. There is no version of events where I think what I'll do to remedy the situation is start dressing like a woman and lop off my knackers. But fuck it, I'm not going to change myself. Slightly odd choice of words coming from a man who's pretending to be a woman, who's had facial feminine this shirt. Fuck it. This shirt.